This is a 1966 Bronco, and it's our latest commission from Agaso Outdoor. So the client came to us wanting a traditional look and feel. He already had the Bronco, but it had oversized flares on it, it had huge tires. Just basically none of the details that he wanted were there. So we agreed to start over and make it more traditional. Our directive was to keep the build as simple as possible, like no side trim, no spare tire carrier, or anything that would make it look like it came from the end of the first series. So really the only thing he wanted was to keep the color white. It's a completely new truck from front to back. It really is a restoration. All we did was just upgrade things to make it more usable. So the paint is Wimbledon White on the body and on the dash, and after a complete media blasting of all the pieces in the frame, we encapsulated everything and then went back and lined it top and bottom so that everything is corrosion protected. And then we sealed the firewall with a kit that we developed with DEI, Design Engineering. Between all the drill holes and all the roll bar holes, there were a lot of holes we had to fill in this thing. Engine is a Ironhead 5.0, about 300 horsepower. Surprisingly, more than enough horsepower as long as everything is geared correctly. That's one of the things we've been working on, is tuning for torque and not horsepower numbers, because it just makes a better driving experience. Engine's got electronic fuel injection, stainless coated headers so they're never going to discolor, and an aluminum radiator that we powder coated black and blacked out the fins so that it's always going to look factory and it's never going to corrode. We like to do little details like that, things like the overflow tank. It takes the place of the plastic one, it's never going to break, it's always going to look the way it did the day you put it on the truck. The transmission is a 4R70W electronic 4-speed automatic. Transfer case is a rebuilt Dana 20, no surprises there, but we used a kit that we helped work on that has a hardened counter shaft, the highest quality seals and bearings, an available billet end cap that allows you to set end play without leaks because it's sealed with an O-ring. So this transfer case rebuild kit, like the firewall kit, will be available on the website, so check it for availability, we will be selling it. So the rest of the driveline has all been rebuilt using heavy-duty parts like fully splined drive shafts and heavy-duty U-joints. Gearing front and rear is 410s because with the tire size it's just the perfect gear. It gives you plenty of snap, but you can still run it on the highway. So the suspension has a small lift in it to clear the tires, but it's otherwise stock configuration. We needed it to be trail rugged, but at the same time, he's not going to rock crawl it. So we left it uncut in the rear as per the instruction on the build, and we just worked to get the proportions right and get the tire size and the wheel size so that everything looked like it was meant to be that way. So the steering is a heavy-duty 4-turn power box optimized for road feel, and the links are OEM 1-ton tie rod ends. So they're heavy-duty, but at the same time they take the slop out of the steering so that everything just feels really nice in your hands when it's done. Since it's a restoration, we didn't do exotic CNC wheels. Instead, we did a 16-inch Steely using a vintage Ford full-size hubcap. And then we used BFG all-terrains to keep the road noise down. So it's got a 23-gallon stainless fuel tank with the in-tank pump that is the quietest and most reliable that we can find. All of the fuel lines are PTFE to combat the problems with ethanol. And then for the hard lines, we've got 304 stainless for the supply and the return, and all of it is tied together with AN fittings. So the exhaust system has got a high-flow cat and a MagnaFlow muffler, both stainless. The interior is a stock configuration that we sympathetically redid using high-grade marine vinyl for UV protection and a houndstooth insert. The gauge cluster is all electronic stepper motors for longevity and for accuracy, but it looks completely stock. Basically, every single part of this truck is brand new, and if it's not, it's completely reconditioned, especially the things that you can't see. The wiring is custom to the truck, using things like our battery cables that we make in-house. And the alternator is a 150 amp American-made unit that's got its own custom ground on it, which keeps charging function optimal. The rest of all of it, you know, details, 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 like sound deadening, not just in the firewall, but in the doors and every place we can get it, really. So in closing, it's not what this thing is, it's what it isn't, actually. It's just that it's not too loud, it's not too big, it just kind of hits that sweet spot and just has real magic. It's just such a pleasure to drive, and it's probably one of my favorites. So if you have any questions about it or anything else, just get on the website and send us an email.